Welcome everyone to a new series on the channel I like to call Boxing 101. To begin this hopefully long series of videos, we first start by diving into the record of some champions across the map of professional boxing. Now, it's not the same as UFC, which I normally cover on this channel, whereas boxing has 5 champions per weight classes, and even the weight classes are a little different. So I'm going to do breakdowns of each one of those things in another episode, but for this episode, we're going to dive into exactly like we do for the career retrospectives, where we're going to look at some fighters across the map of boxing and break down their careers thus far and what might happen in the future for them. And I thought that the perfect starting point for this series, and it's necessary to begin with the welterweight and heavyweight divisions respectively. This means that we have a lot of champions to cover. That has to, almost 10 champions we have to cover. I think that there's 8 across the divisions, and I plan on doing that in the next couple of episodes. Also, make sure that in the comment section below, you let me know what you want to see next, even if that's a fighter, organization, and even a promotion or a manager. There's a lot of things in boxing, and nothing's going to be off limits on this channel. Without further ado of blabbing on about the intro, I want to get right into this series, and let's get straight into this video by looking at Terrence Crawford, one of the scariest welterweights in the world. Let's get it. In one of the most interesting divisions in modern boxing, we have 5 different champions for each of the world titles. The welterweight division lays home to Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. around the top of it, and then you have Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, and another up-and-coming boxing star. However, in a division with stacked killers, the WBO champion Terrence Crawford may be the most feared of the bunch. I think widely considered the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world right now, sitting at 34-0 with 25 knockouts. The 11-year professional has had multiple titles at lightweight and has made the move to welterweight for the taste of even more gold. In his early years, he started his career at 19-0 against B-level competition. Compiling 15 knockouts, the dangerous striker would just be void of an opportunity. In 2011, he signed with his still current promoter, Top Rank Boxing. On March 27, 2013, Brady Scott, the former WBO champion, who was scheduled on the same card as Crawford, would lose his opponent. Prescott, who had KO'd Amir Khan in 2008, taking his undefeated record, would want to make it a second up-and-coming lightweight star. However, the undefeated Crawford, taking advantage of the fallout, accepting the fight on 3 days' notice, stepped into the co-main event and absolutely outboxed the heavy-handed Prescott on way to a unanimous decision. This win over a former champion would put Crawford into the lightweight title conversations. And nevertheless, Crawford would be on a fast track for the title. In a WBO North American lightweight title bout against 34-1 Alondro Sanabria, Crawford finished the fight in the 6th round with a TKO, and Crawford captured the vacant belt and would use it to get an elimination fight to position himself as the next in line for the WBO World Lightweight title. And again, in a big moment against undefeated Andrei Klimov, Crawford absolutely outclassed his opponent, who was then ranked number 12 in the WBO lightweight division. This fight served as a title eliminator for the WBO lightweight champion Ricky Burns, and now Terrence Crawford would be the mandatory. Eddie Hearn, who at the time was managing then champion Ricky Burns, called this Burns' toughest challenge. And on March 1st, 2014, Crawford proved to be again too much for an opponent. In another unanimous decision, it was clear in Burns' home country of Scotland, Terrence was the superior boxer. He took home his first lightweight title and returned home to Omaha to defend that belt. He defended the belt twice in his home state of Omaha before moving a division. First against Olympic gold medalist Yorquais Gamboa, who had unified the featherweight division previously and captured belts as a WBA super featherweight. This fight was amazing. Go back and watch as Gamboa leads the dance with his quickness in the first couple of rounds. But then Crawford adjusts, taking advantage of his size and knocking Gamboa down in the 5th and then again in the 8th. The 9th round signaled the end for Gamboa, and it ignited the hometown crowd in favor of Crawford. Crawford would go back to his decision ways again in Omaha, completely outboxing Ring's #1 contender Raimundo Beltran. In back-to-back 5-star performances, Crawford defended the belt and then began his move up in weight. After the Beltran fight, Crawford made his intentions clear to move up to welterweight and capture all the belts there. Just in time, a vacancy for the super lightweight belt popped up for Crawford to take advantage. It's arguable that Crawford looked even better at super lightweight, and this stunted his move to welterweight for a little bit. After 3 consecutive TKO victories, including one at the world-famous MSG in New York, he would continue at this weight class for 4 more fights. Those 3 fights included 2 1 million average viewers, Following the wins, Crawford would start to unify the division. In 2016, a fight between Crawford, 28-0 and now WBO champion, and Victor Postol, who was also 28-0 and the WBC champion, was signed to fight each other to unify the two belts. In a highly anticipated fight between two undefeated champions, Postol said that his coach, all-time great Freddie Roach, would outcoach Crawford's coach, Bo Mack, on way to a Postol victory. But in a decision, Crawford was the quicker man all night. With all the scorecards giving Crawford at least a 9-3 advantage, Terrence was awarded the WBO, WBC, Ring, and Lineal Championship. And in his next fight, he'd defend against John Molina Jr., InsideBoxing.com quoted as saying Molina was barely good enough to merit the opportunity to share the ring with anyone regarded as one of the very best in the world, pound for pound. 2008 welterweight Felix Diaz would call out Crawford, and that would be his next defense. In another unanimous decision, Crawford would get his 30th straight win, a big accomplishment for the super lightweight. And it'd become time for Crawford to unify every international belt at super lightweight. Without further ado, one of the best in the sport would get his shot at etching himself in greatness. It took Crawford only 3 rounds. He knocked out Julius Ndongo in a quick outing and now held all the belts at super lightweight. That goes for the WBO, WBC, WBA, Ring, and the IWC. I'm not 100% if I'm accurate on that, but he captured every single belt at super lightweight. What sucks is that with all the people in charge of all these different promotions, not really promotions, but all these different ranking systems, it rarely lasts, and politics pushed Crawford into a move to welterweight. Crawford would not fight in the lightweight division ever again. He would vacate all the belts and let that go on. In Crawford's debut at welterweight, he would fight for the WBO welterweight title. In his first fight, he would already be in a super fight with undefeated Jeff Horn. And continuing his momentum of moving up in weight and finishing guys, by the 9th round, the fight was over. A TKO finish for Crawford, who found the killer instinct by the later rounds. Then, as undefeated welterweights chomping at the bit to fight the once lightweight, Jose Benavidez Jr. would step up next to challenge Crawford for his WBO title. Jose Benavidez Jr. was also a former super lightweight fighter who had held an interim belt in the weight class. The fight was heated. After an emotional week leading up, the weigh-ins almost made it to blows. However, into the later rounds, Crawford's experience proved the X factor in the actual boxing fight and got him over the hump. In the last minute of the fight, Crawford let his hands fly and TKO'd Benavidez in the 12th round, the 12th and final round. This is the first time I mentioned Crawford's trash talk game, but throughout his career, he was never afraid to trade jabs on the mic. And he's one of the guys who does an outstanding job in the promotional side of the game. Just as some examples, the Jeff Horn press conferences, obviously the Benavidez beef, and many of his other fights are exciting pre-fight conferences and headlines. I'm new to boxing, and I'm rather new to MMA as well, so if there's anything you'd like to add, you can find me on Twitter here, link in the description, and I'm always open to DMs from you guys, and if you leave a comment on this video here, I'll be able to see it if I did miss out on anything this great welterweight has done. I'm asking you guys, though, what do you guys think is next for Terrence Crawford? Do you think that he's going to get the super fight with Errol Spence Jr., or do you think that he's going to get one of the more scared welterweights in the division? I don't want to say scared because obviously these guys get in a ring and fight, but the welterweights who really haven't challenged in Sean Porter or Keith Thurman. You let me know in the comment section below what, after the Amir Khan, he's fighting Amir Khan next, but after his Amir Khan fight, what's next?